Welcome one and all. I'm here in Australia for a nice sunny qualifying session to mark round number 2 of season 8. We're here with category number 5. I'm just waiting for the first cars to make their way out onto the Albert Park circuit. There's some great racing over the last 2 days, and can we see maybe just a little bit more as both Red Bulls come out in sync and loses an Alfa Romeo. The first car to run down towards turn 1, and it's Pratik, I believe, reserving in a little bit last minute. Jumping in, Team Amana, but he's racing in. This is a beautiful camera angle of a grandstand, but I'm enjoying it. There we go. There he is on track. He's the first car out, probably just getting a few laps in that Alfa Romeo. First time he's been jumped in that car. Everybody got the soft compound tyres fitted on. We saw in C1 last night that guys are opting for track position. It's more important to think about that track position because it's difficult to overtake around this Albert Park circuit, despite there being free DRS zones. But making sure he gets the tyres nice and warmed up. And I guess while we're just waiting for these guys to make their way around the outlet, it's got most drivers out on track at the moment. I believe it's the Ferrari of Annoy Gamer just about to come out of the pit lane. The Racing Point of Skipper and Pete, the only ones sat in their garages at the moment. But we look at the championship, and it's Ralph who currently occupies that top spot. Crankybot in P2, of course, in the Red Bull. Got the fast lap as well, so he's only 6 points behind in Dr. Robot, nicking the final podium spot late on in that Bahrain Grand Prix race. We're going to see how Pratik gets on. Raced in C6 last season. We'll see how he gets on as he heads around the final corner. And all that is an interesting line. He's just about avoided an invalidation there somehow. There's a yellow flag in sector 3 as people are backing up down at turn number 15, and we'll see down through turn 1. Keeping it nice and clean, holding it in 5th gear, and I think holding the brake pedal a little bit longer than he would have wanted, running down towards turn 3, probably the best overtaking spot we're going to see in the race. Keeping it nice and tight, upshifting to 4th. Haven't seen that before. Making his way through this first sector now. And he's getting a clean lap in. Brave person to hit that inside curve. It is one of those curves that just can spin you around. It's a 27.4 for the Alfa driver. Alfa Romeo, that is. And now coming into this middle sector. What a fast middle sector as he clips through the turn 9-10 chicane. And now making the long run towards that deadly turn 11-12. We spoke about it a bit yesterday, but it's just one of those corners that can very easily catch a driver out. It goes through, keeping it nice and clean and not spinning off the curbs on the exit, which is just so easy to do. Drivers could be doing that in the race and in the qualifying session we're just about to see. And Prince is predicting a Calais win, so we'll see how that one pans out. Calais currently out on track, setting his flying lap time, but still Skipper and Pete, the two yet to come out, and Pete moving on to the medium tyres. Interesting call from the Mercedes driver, but towards the line we go with Pratik. And it is going to be a 1 minute 22.4. Fifi comes towards the line now. What time is he going to do? He's at 21.6. We'll try and find the two McLarens. Asmith towards the line. He's going pretty well at the moment. We'll see what time he can do. It's a 20.9. Brilliant time from him. Is Crankybot the one that's next? Crankybot into the pit lane. And Gerbs across the line goes P2 with 21.5. Next is the Ferrari of Dan. He runs towards the line. He's a little bit back from Asmith and goes into P5 with that time. Next to cross the line is our current championship leader, Ralph. He had invalidated. It's 22.4 from him. I imagine he would have backed off a touch. And is it GDBO? It's Milko towards the line next. It's 1 minute 21.9, just getting into the sub 1 minute 22s for him. Then it's the only Renault today. Huss runs towards the line. Where can he put that Renault car in the standings at the moment? He moves into P7. It's a little bit back from Dan. And then it's the Haas. Oh, I missed him. GDBO's gone into P5. And Calais ducked into the pit lane. And here comes Skipper out on track. Pete out on track as well. And I think Ralph has gone again on this set of tyres. Running a little bit low on ERS. Is the McLaren drivers hoping to get to the end without any major issues. Right, this is the Val saying this kind of race where Calais shines. We'll see how Calais gets on. He's currently sat, well, in P11 without a tight line. Bogros, who also went into P3 whilst we were sort of flicking between the laps, coming in thick and fast. But so far, all going well for Asmith, and Team McLaren looking to carry on their good momentum. See how Ralph can get on his lap. No cars in front of him now for the run towards the line. One more corner to negotiate. Gets that McLaren. A good rotation around the last few corners. Is C6 being streamed? I think it will be. Just bear with. I'm sure it'll be up very shortly. But Ralph goes into P5. Good attempt to be fair on tyres that have done the extra lap. And we'll see how Pete gets on as he heads down towards turn 1 on the medium tyres. It'll be interesting to see the delta between the two. And well, Pete last week things just didn't go his way in the end, and unfortunately not picking up any points after a good sort of opening start to the race. And quickly, oh, and that's not gone well for Pete at all, losing the rear and just running that little bit too wide, dipping a tyre onto the AstroTurf. And the Williams of Calais gets around him, but it's not gone well at all for Pete, into the wall and out of this qualifying session. So he will be starting dead last. He does have the sort of the what's the nice way to put it? It's like the advantage that he can choose his tyres. He might be able to sort of negotiate any troubles down at turn 1. But gutting there for Pete, and things not going his way here in Australia today. Skipper setting his first lap course, sort of was with Pete in that second phase of the first runs. We'll watch. I think Calais is probably the next car to start a flying lap. Currently on his out lap, just coming towards the end of it. Or actually, it's going to be someone's in the pit lane. I think it's Ralph actually. Skipper. Been a nice tidy lap so far. We'll see what this middle sector split is going to be. If I remember correctly, he's sort of want to be looking maybe dip into the 48s, and yeah, 49.5, so a little bit down at the moment, I think, from Skipper. Nice line through that sort of far chicane though, must be said. I've got to say, Asmin's time is very quick out front. You can just see 6/10 clear up at the top at the moment. It still says Fifi's got the fastest lap. Can we try and change that? There we go. Shouldn't be up in there. Oh, one of the Red Bulls. It's had a bit of a spin, and it looks like it's Gerbs. Maybe facing the wrong way, but Skipper, one more corner to go for him. And he puts his foot to the floor, using all the track on the exit, and the time is going to be a 1 minute 22.5, goes into P10 ahead of Dan and Haas. And as I said, well, look at Clay on his lap. 26.9, that's a good first sector time from the Williams driver. Well, support on this as well. Race is going to shine. Let's see how he gets on then. Through this middle sector, we can compare him to Skipper and try and work it up. Skipper did a 40, I think it was a 49. Calais does a 49.1, a little bit up on it. I think goes in a little bit deep into the first part of that chicane, but I think got away with it, carried good speed throughout. Without time on the board just yet. Looks like the racing point of Skipper just getting out of the way. They got yellow flags elsewhere on track. Calais, 2 more corners to go. Pushing that Williams as fast as it will go. Around the final corner and onto the main straight. What will the time be for Calais? It's going to be 1 minute 21.8, just nipped into the 21s and jumps ahead of the 2 Haas cars. Goes into P6. Good time from him. Fifi, 5,000 up at the moment. Gerbs just come through that first sector, and Asmith 4/10 down at the moment, so not going well for him on this lap. Gerbs was up on his time for the first sector. I think, is it Fifi the next one? It might be the Haas car. Actually, it's not the Haas car, they're both on out laps. I think Asmith is quite a bit down. Fifi, oh, and they're coming together. Big coming together. Fifi's out of qualifying. And that's a big incident that happened there. I'm trying to find out who I can see it from. Well, we didn't really see what happened there from Fifi's POV. We were looking at the sort of TV camera, if you like. And well, it was... it just seemed that maybe the racing point, I don't know if it was in low fuel mode or something, just sort of... She's still in the qualifying. We can have a look now. No, I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to get out of the way and just sort of accidentally got in the way. Gerbs has gone on to original pole whilst we've been looking at that. So a very good final sector for Gerbs. Obviously just about to start his flying lap. And we'll see now what Bob can do. Currently signed P3. With a bit of a gap to jump into the 1 minute 20s. Anyone completing a flying lap? I think GWO a little bit further around, not actually on a flyer. He just finished time, so we'll see how Bob gets on this flying lap. Coming towards the end of the first sector, it's going to be a 26.9, 10.5 improvement for him there. And I think into the 26s, that's really where you want to be putting your car for that first sector split. 8th gear drops it down into 4th. Not even tempted to use 3rd. He just runs that a little bit too wide. It's going to cost him. We'll see what his middle sector would have been. He's backed up, unfortunately, so no improvements for Bog on this lap. Ralph's going again, and he's 2/10 up. Very good middle sector from there from Ralph. Going purple. He's going to benefit Izzy from a little bit of a toe. But of course gets out of the way very nicely. And McLaren getting a little bit of a boost down towards turn number 13, and a car in front of him, which I believe is a Haas car, gets out of the way nicely. I think Ralph was maybe not expecting that as he runs over the curb, but no invalidation for him there. He's got a clean run through to the final corners. A Ferrari and a Red Bull come into the pit lane. What can Ralph do? Can he go up into the 1 minute 20? He had improvements throughout the lap. It's going to be a 1 minute 21.5, finds 2/10, goes into P3 to make it a McLaren 2nd and 3rd. And Pratik goes into P6, cutting half a second. In a very competitive group from the mid to high, 1 minute 21, so Pratik, a good job as GDBO comes through. Oh, and GDBO's gone. That was Harry Potter-esque stuff there, as he vanished out of, well, he vanished into nowhere really. Unfortunately for him, hopefully he can get back in. Haas not on a push lap. I don't think there's anyone on a push lap. Milko might be. Milko is. He's found loads of time. Can Milko put himself in a P3? He can do almost one better. He just goes into the 1 minute 20s. Brilliant final sector there from Milko, finding half a second in the 3rd sector alone, and splits the 2 McLaren. So great job from Milko. Haas driver. Managed P11 last week, so just tantalisingly close to that's what I think. GDBO is back, that's good news. And Ralph going again on the same set, likes to do 2 runs on his tyres it seems, and making improvements. So could, well, he's got a big gap to jump up to Milko, but oh, has Crankybot gone onto pole? I think he has. Crankybot made it a Red Bull 1-2. DRS open for Ralph. And across the line, Ralph is going to set a 1 minute 20.8. Great final sector. The final sector time's coming in as Bogorowski goes on a provisional pole. It's so close up at the front. Look at those cars separated by half a tenth at the moment. Brilliant lap from Bog on tyres that have done 2 laps. That could not be ideal. Might not be ideal. We've the strategy is planning, but getting the track position definitely seems to be the key here, as some drivers are going for 2 laps. Ralph and Bogorowski both finding massive amounts of time on their 2nd lap. Neugamer and Dan in sort of a line at the moment, one after the other. We've got 5 minutes left in this qualifying session, excuse me. And see everybody on the soft compound of tyres. Not a lot. You get the gap. Oh, look at that. You can see the difference to the leader. I mean, look at this. A tenth covers the top 6. That's how close it is at the moment. It's great stuff here in the C5. It's so close for the pole. A few drivers have a little bit of work to do. Neugamer, maybe one of them currently a second off of the pole time. Currently sat in P11. That could be a hot seat, potentially. Of course, gives him free tyre choice for the start of this Grand Prix. But down towards turn when he goes, looks like a racing point. The skipper just getting in the way of yellow flags, but Neugamer is going to be a little bit annoyed there because he's cut the corner a little bit and is going to pick up an invalidation. The McLaren, I think of Asmith, is on a push lap as well. 10.5 up in the 1st sector. Still a 10th up, lost a bit of time, did Asmith, but still just about ahead. Very, very close in the top 6. Asmith, so far, if he can just keep this final sector together, could be looking at provisional pole and jumping. Bogorowski, Gerbs on an out lap. Just about to start a flying lap. Asmith gets this one slowed down. Now, just one more corner to focus on. Keeping it nice and smooth, puts his foot to the floor now. All over the curve on the exit and running towards the line. Can he go on to provisional pole? No, he can't. Loses out by 0.003 of a second. And they only need half a tenth. It's fine margins here in qualifying. Neugamer, of course, invalidated, but he's 2/10 down at the moment. Dan hasn't invalidated, so we'll see what his lap time is going to be. He can find improvements. Gerbs just has crossed the point between the 1st and the 2nd sectors. We'll go to him in a brief moment. But Dan comes across the line and he's set to 1 minute 21.2. Big improvements for Dan now. 4/10 off the pole, and goes into that P7 gap. Gerbs doesn't say what his split was, but I'm sure it was pretty quick. Bog pole is some predictions, but look at this from Gerbs. Almost 0.2 of a second up, and that was committed through the 11-12 chicane. Bit of a moment though. I think one of the Rebels in C1 had a moment there yesterday, but Gerbs avoiding the wall, and on the edge here, really pushing this lap, and I think getting it all right at the moment. We could be looking at a provisional pole time here. It's so close up at the front, and I think Gerbs might be taking that step towards pole, running towards the line now. Well, what can Gerbs do? It's going to be 1 minute 20.767. He finds a 10th, and he puts himself almost a 10th out in front. And Asmith into the pit lane, so none of the 5 cars behind him are on track at the moment. But I think that's all about to change as Ralph just coming out onto the track now. The Haas car of GDBO on an out lap, and then we've got Noy Gamage making his way back to the pit lane because he's unfortunately invalidated again. Very close to his original time, but he'll be finding no improvements just yet. Haas half a second up on his previous lap, so good time from him there. Skipper 4000's up at the moment. Mighty Fraxer's just joined us too. He's in the Renault. We've now got a full house down at Renault. Pratik just coming around the final corner. He was pretty much similar, so what can he do in this final sector? Can he find a little bit more time? He can. He goes into P8, finding 2/10 there. Good time from Pratik. Having to learn that Alfa Romeo quite quickly. GBO getting a bit of a tow, and Calais having to get out of the way, but the Haas car does invalidate. I could go to the stewards room potentially. Haas still up a little bit, even the next car to cross the line, and what you would have thought is his final run, but it goes that little bit too wide, just pushing it too much. We'll see if he finishes his current lap, and he decides to abort. He will be starting no higher than at P13. Gerbs in the pit lane, nothing more he can do. Boggs on an out lap. Crankybot in the pit, so Crankybot's not doing anything. Crankybot's not going anywhere. It is at best P3 for the Red Bull driver. We've got Ralph. And Asmith might have got this one wrong. 1 minute 20 lap at a push. I don't think Asmith's going to make the checkered flag. He's only come out the pit lane recently. Ralph, the first of the guys at the front to be starting his lap. We'll see how Ralph gets on. I think Asmith's made a small mistake there. With such fine margins, he only needs to find a 10.5, and he's on to provisional pole. Milko's starting his flying lap in the Haas, just down at turn 1 at the moment. We'll see what Ralph's first sector is. And it's a 26.6. I think that actually is purple. We've seen there's a few glitches where it says it's purple, it's actually not, but almost 2/10 at the moment. This is a committed stuff from Ralph, and well, looking to carry on his good form from last week. Going through turn 9 and 10. Green flags are waving, no troubles up in front of him. The checkered flag is out. Asmith has not made it. Asmith not made it. He's nowhere near, to be perfectly honest, but a 10th up for Ralph. Nice and clean through the deadly chicane. And a couple more corners to go. He's into this final sector now. Who's the car behind? I think they're going to have to flick to his Milko, but no improvements there. Bogorovsky's not made it either. So but barely any of the top guys are setting times right to the death in this qualifying session. Ralph, a little bit wayward on the rear, running around the final corner now and onto the pit straight. DRS open, running towards the line. Nothing more he can do. Will it be pole position? Yes, it will. Finding 2/10 puts him a 10th out in front. What can Milko do further back? He's invalidated. Milko has invalidated. Pratik, 17,000 is the gap. Calais running towards the line. Not sure if he's improving on his time. Might be getting a bit of a distance tow. What's the time going to be for the Williams driver? P9 is at best for him. 7/10. A close battle there. Sort of in the 1 second off region. Pratik pretty close to find improvements. Has Skipper got fuel in the car or something? I don't know. Pratik will be the final car to set a time. I don't know what Skipper is doing. If he's having fun, that's good. Pratik comes across the line. He stays P10 with that one. And that is qualifying done and dusted. Ralph nicking pole right to the death, but a bit of a weird end to the quali session, it must be said, as well, barely any of the guys at the front setting times late on. It was guys tried to, but just coming out the pit lane a little bit too late. But it leaves Ralph, our race winner from last time out, so of course that makes him the championship leader, on pole position. So he'll be taking, well, no points of pole position, but it's close. Look at that, the top 11, all within a second, and sort of, well, the top 6 separated by just under 3/10, and a close battle just behind as well. We're in for a good race, I think, or strategy is something to consider as well, as there's a difference between the 2-stop and the 1-stop. You never know, a safety car of some sort can just mix things up a little bit as well. See who can react best to a safety car or a VSC. But it's Ralph from Gerbs, from Bugger, obviously that's your top three. And I think, well, Williams will be wanting a good, you know, for Calais especially, to try and get some few more points on the board. Currently down in P10, but Milko Gerbs put themselves in good positions near the front. Currently pointless as things stand. We're just getting involved in a few incidents last week in Bahrain. Just waiting for the drivers to set their fuel loads, set their tyre strategies from the start, but of course it all could change mid-race. They can change it on the fly. That'd be interesting if you had to stick to the strategy that you set yourself up with, and that could make quite interesting if there's safety cars. But I'm sure we're in for a great race. It's so close out front, and fine margins could define this one. And with how difficult it is to overtake, I think it can be a very competitive race. With maybe if you need to make that move, it could be a bit of a send scenario. But nevertheless, so we got Ralph on pole position, making sure he's got all the gears there as he ran one of them. But it is Ralph's first pole position in RLH, so congratulations to him for that. Good job. Can he convert it into a win? Obviously, that's the predicted pit stop strategy down below. Soft to hard or soft medium is what is suggested, powered by AWS. And then we got Gerbs in P2, Bogrossi in third, in a bit of a Red Bull sandwich as Crankybot is in fourth. Asmith puts both Red Bulls and Bog in a McLaren sandwich, and then Milko in P6. Dan is 7th, GDBO is 8th, so Dan's in a bit of a house sandwich, and Clay in V9. Pratik is 10th, and now we've got to see what the free choice of tyres are. We've got Fifi on the mediums in 11th, Annoy Gamer on softs in P12. Dan's been disqualified as well as Milko, so a little bit of a collision there. Huss on the mediums in 13th. Skipper on the mediums in 14th. Mighty Rax on softs in 15th, and Pete on the softs as well. So not many guys opting for alternative tyres. Only, well, it's a 50% ratio, if you like, because that does surprise me a little bit. We saw some guys yesterday on the hards, and it worked. I think it really did work, and later on they got caught out, I think, a little bit. Actually, no, they didn't, because I think Wesley went hard yesterday and just really benefited from it, from a sort of late race safety car. And Ralph's been hung up to dry a little bit here. His tyres could be getting a little bit cold on the grid because, well, I don't know if it's by intention, but Germ's backing the pack up a little bit as Ralph pushed round that last lap. Also a little bit of a train fell back for me behind Haas, as there's a bit of a gap between himself and Annoyed Gamer in front, making sure his medium tyres are nice up to temperature. When we all get going, we can get going for round number 2. That's a lovely camera angle. Yep. We can get going for round number 2 here in Australia. The AlphaTauri lining up in P11. It looks like we've got the rest of the grid. I'm sure you won't have a turn 1 safety car, Prince, but the lights should be here very, very shortly. They should be. Cars are jigging about. Looks like we are going to get the lights now. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Australia. And it's lights out and away we go. Who's got the best of the starts? Smoke coming out over as wheel spin kicking up. Looks like the Williams, someone there, and Clay didn't have the best starts, losing a few positions. That's down the inside from Gibbs. That's ascended. All the cars have gone off. Someone's gone really off as well in the background. And Ralph losing positions there on lap 1. No one spun though, somehow. And we've all got through relatively unscathed. Ralph dropping down to P6 now. Yellow flags are out for something further back. VSC has been called out, and down the inside they went from GDBO a little bit later. Now we're jostling for position. And there's a 5-second penalty for Haas for a collision with Pratik. Someone's gone massively off. Is that Fifi? I think it is. Pratik is out. Pratik is out of the race. So that happened actually under VSC conditions. And we've got to try and work out what happened on the start here. I don't think Clay got the best of starts on those. I mean, you were close, but it was a VSC, so it doesn't technically count. But I mean, it probably should have been a safety car. I don't know really what happened at turn 1. It looks like one of the rebels, I think it was it Gerbs, I think just went down the inside, just decided he wanted the P1 position, but both of them went in too deep. Someone in the background went off massively as well. So as the order is now actually correct, Crankybot, the big winner. Ralph, the big loser, really, out of that. A lot of drivers making up a couple of positions. Annoy Gamer up 4 as well. And, well, Cranky leads the race. He's going to be happy with that one. Boggs made up plays, Adams made up 2. And, well, from the front group, it's Gerbs and Ralph that are the big losers. It must be said, we're green in racing once again, though. Has anyone managed to pounce on the restart? Fifi's already picked up multiple warnings. There's wing damage for the Haas of Milko. And we carry on to start lap number 2. Crankybot leads them away, and we could see a change of position here. Is GDBO going to think about sending one on his teammate? And just thinks better of it. Gives him a little bit of love tap. Has that sends him onto the grass? That's going to have a poor exit. Here comes Ralph, an annoying gamer though, as we run down towards turn number 3. Gerbs thinking about a move, not this time, and then down goes the inside. GDBO only somehow got it slowed down. Here comes Ralph. We saw 3 wide, was not a good idea here yesterday. Ralph though goes clean around the outside, and that's a good move, taking advantage of others' misfortunes there from Ralph. And that makes up a couple of positions that he lost at the start. Good work, and well, Dan was having a sniff on the back of his teammate. It's a Ferrari powered duel, and that was a little bit close, going wheel to wheel there between Annoyed Gamer and Milko. Milko just about keeping ahead that time around and sending it once again. There was contact. There was contact. I think GDBO had a bit of contact with Ralph. Ralph's in the wall and has wing damage. He's still he's going to keep on going in this race. But it seems to go from bad to worse. The 2 Ferraris are swapping positions down, getting ahead before the turn 9-10, turn 11-12 chicane. And this battle carries on now. Very close up the road as well as Gerbs and Asmith on the back of Bogorovsky. As we go through the final part of the lap. A couple drivers have come into the pit lane. That's Fifi and Huss, I believe. Both of them onto the hard tyres, looking to go long into this race. But Crankybot setting the times out front. He has a 2.7 second lead. As Milko is in the pit lane, getting rid of some front wing damage that we saw him pick up a little bit earlier on. Asmith though has not got DRS yet because of course the detection point for both straight 1 and 2 is a little bit further back, where we see another swap down at Ferrari. Not quite close enough at the moment. Bog doing a good defensive job at the moment. When DRS kicks in, of course, I think DRS is quite, whilst it is difficult to overtake, DRS is quite important, I think, at Australia because of the free detection zones. So keeping within that second definitely gives you a good pace advantage. Position swapping because of pit stops further down the order. Dan keeping quite close to GDBO. No way through. Mighty Frax might be looking for a move on Pete. He got very close just then. Maybe thought about a move down the inside, but nothing doing just yet. Bog still leading Asmith and Gerbs, and of course they now have DRS, and it shuts as they slam on the brakes. Dan is close enough this time. No DRS for the Husqvarna. He is ahead. Will it be a double Ferrari move as they go into turn 13? Yes, it is. Synchronization there from Ferrari was brilliant. Can GDBO fight this one back? No way around the outside. Just there. And to be fair to Annoy Gamer, did well, took the opportunities, but I think you've also got to give a little bit of credit there to GDBO just to react and, not crash into him, basically be aware of his surroundings. And Asmith getting very close to the back of Bogorovsky. Will he be close enough to challenge him down in towards turn 3? I think even with his little bit of a DRS, he won't be on this occasion. Clay's got involved in that battle for P5 now. He's within DRS range of GDBO in front of him. And skipping well on those mediums, keeping out of trouble. And opportunities will come to him, I imagine. I'm very interested in the differing strategies at play today. I think yesterday we didn't really get to see them at their full effect because of safety cars midway and towards the end of the race, as things just got a little bit crazy. But might be able to see a few more strategies play out today and just see how Skip and get on. The only remaining medium runner still on their mediums, because didn't get involved in any sort of early incidents. The Ferraris go through. Oh, yellow flag, and that's the Renault. Always been a change up front. That's Asmith down the inside. He's ahead of Bogorovsky. That was a simple move, I think, for the McLaren driver. Must have had a good run through 11 and 12. And 2 Ferraris are swapping. That's down the inside. Dan, though, to defend. He's done a switchback and he's made it work. Annoyed Gamer didn't get the exit he was desiring and has lost out on P5. Going to be a good battle between these guys, but see, they're just losing Losing time on everyone in front. Yellow flag because the Mighty Frack's having another moment to himself. Is he missing a front wing? He's missing, well, most of it. I think he's going from bad to worse for him. No way past another game. And Bog obviously closing in. Oh, that's late on the brakes from Gerbs. A little bit worried there, but no problems at all. Another game, and Dan still close at the moment, but Crankybot pretty comfortable out front. Mighty Frack's on to set of soft tyres. Might get out ahead of his teammate, not sure. I think actually has to get ahead of him. Should get out ahead of the McLaren of Ralph. Said looking to go long in this race. But a set of softs for Mighty Frack, so confirming a bit of a two-stop there for the Renault driver. Surely going to have to pit again as Gers picks up 3 seconds. Currently sat behind Bogorovsky. Of course, he's got DRS from Asmith in front, but that's very close to being broken. Up at 9/10 at the moment. Asmith just needs to wait. Bogorovsky going to still be picking up DRS for the next 2 zones. But of course, Gerbs has that penalty, which could be a factor later on when we get to the checkered flag. But still, well, 1/6 of the way there as we start lap number 6. Obviously good pace on the straights. Maybe using a bit of DRS to affect that. I'll see if he's got DRS. He does. The beep arrived. He's now going to get that little boost down towards turn 3. Gerbs is still there waiting. Crankybot chilling out front. Second last time out. Actually equalled his best finish. His best finish in RLH is P2. 1 pole position to his name and 4 podium finish, but yet to step onto that top step. So we'll see how he fares for the rest of this race. But looking good so far. Everything's going right for him. Asmith now in P2. His sign's getting a bit of rhythm. He's broken DRS for Bog behind him. Oh, and that was a slide from the Williams driver through the first part of that chicane. As we go down towards turn number 13, they stay as they were. Bog missing out on that DRS, but still going pretty strongly at the moment. Here's the Williams driver further back. The 2 Ferraris still pretty close, and Clay's got down the inside. Clay's got ahead of GDBO. Later on the brakes, though, has he gone too deep on the brakes? Not deep enough that it allows GDBO to come back at the Williams driver. Good move from Clay. Now he's got a bit of free air to work into. A bit of a lock-up. Will it cost him? Doesn't look like it. Skipper not too far behind. He's ready to pounce. Will we see the Haas come back at Calais now? I'm sure it's ERS activated for both of them. Of course, DRS for the Haas rather than the Williams. Change of positions further back as Milko's gone down the inside. Battle between 2 hard runners now. And Fifi getting ahead and into P11 now. Pete not far behind Skipper. And GDBO couldn't get past with DRS on that occasion. And gap now for Glade 5 seconds ahead of him. And there aren't many guys within DRS range at the moment. And gaps started to spread out as drivers get into a rhythm and started to feel that dirty effect as the tyres start to wear. The 2 Ferraris still joining away. Gerbs picks up another 3-second time penalty. There's a change of positions. There was a change of positions for last place, and they're wheel to wheel. Looks like Mighty Frack on his set of fresh softs has managed to get ahead of Ralph. And DRS helps the Renault driver defender down in towards turn number 3. And no way back past, and Ralph, well, starting on pole position, brilliant lap to get him into pole, but just unfortunate. Lap 1, it just couldn't have gone any worse for him. And then a bit of contact sent him spinning, and Gerbs into the pit lane. Gerbs into the pit lane early on, pulling the trigger. Well, it's not actually that early, but definitely pulling the trigger in terms of the pit stop phase. He's going to put on a set of hard compound tyres, looking to go to the end of this race. Well, definitely very deep into it. That mechanic on the far side had to be careful there. GDBO into the pit lane as well. And what a Haas going to be putting on his car. It's going to be a set of soft compound tyres. So he's looking to do a 2-stop in this race. A new front wing as well for him. That's going to cost him a bit of time, but he'll be able to try and make that time back up with the set of softs he's got on now. Noigamer picks up 3 seconds. Yellow flag is set to 2, and that's the Ferrari of Noigamer. Noigamer facing the wrong way. Taking a very interesting trip through the gravel trap, but that's going to promote a few drivers, and well, the battle between the 2 Ferraris won't be much more, and I probably shouldn't. That's a bit harsh if I just watch him that, because it just seems to be going very well for him. That allows Gerbs pass freely into P8. I'm not sure if he's got damage. I think he's got a little bit of M-Fence damage there. Actually, it's more than a little bit, I think. So he's definitely going to be forced into the pit lane, missing half of that front wing. And Skipper's starting to make up places now. He's on those medium tires and go a little bit longer in this race. Calais currently sat in P5. Another little bit of lock-up down there for him. And he's into the pits. So responding on that last lap, the only driver to be coming in this lap so far. Pete stays out. We got Gerbs, of course, coming around. And I'm sure Noigamer will be into the pits very short as well. But obviously closed up. Goes back up. So Asmith now within a second. Maybe starting to struggle on those older tyres. Clay, though, will be coming out of the pit lane into clear air in P8. So try and pump in some fast laps. I wonder if anyone will try the Justice strategy we saw yesterday. Really extend the soft stint, and you can take a set of mediums to the end. He did that in the practice race we had around here as well. And Noigamer, well, he's lost out massively, losing out to quite a few drivers because of that little incident on the previous lap. And Fifi very close to the back of Calais. They're wheel to wheel. They just come out of the pit lane ahead of Fifi. Fifi fighting him back though. Fifi's gone down the inside. Has he gone too deep? He's just about got the AlphaTauri slowed down. And Fifi ahead and up in a P8. Of course, Fifi though pitted very early on. He's gone all over the curbs though. What can Calais do to profit from this? He's going to have a much better run. Fifi runs wide. Clay's got the speed, but it's just not really overtaking spot. He's going to go for it though. They're wheel to wheel. 2 white cars and Calais just about avoiding a DNF. Has he got damage? He does, and oh, it's gutting. Maybe just should have hung back on that occasion. The top 3 into the pit lane straight away. Now we've got a battle brewing between Milko, GDVO and Fifi. Not sure if Fifi has any damage from that. I wouldn't imagine it. Just Calais just unlucky being on the inside, and just, well, when the 2 cars sort of came together on the side, it just didn't work out for him, and that's Fifi into the wall. Fifi is into the wall. Has he kept the car in the... Has he not got any damage? There's no visible damage on the AlphaTauri. How on earth is there no visible damage? Anyway, further back at the front, out of the pit lane we go, and well, Gerbs spinning 2 laps early. He's got ahead of Asmith. Massive undercut from Gerbs. Bogrovsky, their big loser from the pit stop phase. I'm not just calling him a big loser. That would probably be quite harsh, considering he's doing a good job in this race. Pete's come out behind the 2 Haas cars. I'm pretty sure Fifi didn't have any damage. He's now dropped behind Calais, so Calais will probably take that as a moral. He doesn't have any damage. I don't know. He clattered that barrier. But Gerbs looking to maybe challenge his teammate here. Right on the back of Cranky. Gerbs, of course, has got the knowledge on those hard compound tyres. He's got them fired up. He knows what to expect, but he's really closing that lead. Crankybot had quite a sizable advantage, and with a bit of ERS, Gerbs is up into the race lead. Pretty similar ERS levels between those 2. We've got a bit of wheel to wheel action, and Ralph's got ahead of us through the first sector. Crankybot, conceding his effective race lead. Very interesting move, it must be said. But 3rd race distance at the moment as we start lap number 11. And here comes Crankybot. He's got back ahead. Dosing helpful handling of DRS allows the Red Bull driver back past his teammate. We will see a re-overtake from Gerbs, but of course Crankybot having the DRS to help defend, and he's just going to have the speed on the straights. On that occasion it goes in a little bit deep, and Red Bull driver's keeping it clean though, and not risking it. But what this is allowing is just allowing Asmith to join in the party. And well, I remember once in Turkey 2010, 2 Red Bulls dueling out and the McLaren profited. Will we see that again if there is a bit of a collision? I don't know. So far, Crankybot, Gerbs, Asmith is your, well, probably your actual top 3. Of course, Skipper hasn't pitted yet, taking those mediums a bit long, which is racer's good pace at the moment. pushing that ERS button quite a bit, so maybe on an in lap now. We'll keep an eye out and see what he does, but Asmith closing in, having a look, maybe, not just yet. And staying in that P4 slot on track at the moment. One eye on Skipper if he comes into the pits. Well, I think he stayed out to carry on in this one. Fifi's closing in on Haas. They're on exactly the same old lap tyres. And will there be a move ready for Fifi? Much quicker run through the chicane and hitting the back of the Renault. Just stalled him, but now with DRS he's going to get ahead and promote himself up into P12. Goes on a little bit deep, he's going to get away with it on this occasion. Making his way through the last couple of corners. Of course Haas will then get DRS, but looking at it now 8 tenths behind. It could be quite challenging down towards turn one. That was a nice camera angle. With the helicopters, while we hang with it, to be honest. Asmith still close to the back of Gerbs. Bogorovsky a little bit further behind, but well, Asmith gone for a set of mediums. You know, did he extend the stint long enough to take them to the end? Was he? You know, is the plan for him a two-stop? We'll have to see. He'll be praying for maybe a bit of a safety car later on. Pete on his soft tyres on the back of Milko. Milko on a set of hard. Will Pete be late enough on the brakes? He won't be. Makes a little bit of contact with Milko. We could see him move a little bit later on, as he now got a lot of ERS to use, not using it just yet. Milko going defensive, then cuts back to the racing line, which he's perfectly entitled to do. But Pete not quite got the speed through the chicane to really make a challenge. Later on, the two Renault drivers going wheel to wheel. That's down the inside from Mighty Frax. And no way through, and Huss keeps hold of P13. And Crankybot, Gerbs and Asmith just slowly working their way towards Skipper, who of course is extending. He's got a lot less laps to do if he comes onto a set of hard tyres. He was going for a set of softs, and now the move down at Renault has been done. Mighty Frax is ahead of his teammate. Haskell's got a little bit of wing damage, which won't be helping his pace at all. Gerbs and Bogorovsky got time penalties at the moment. Pete's got ahead of Milko this time around. He's going to go around the outside, goes in a little bit too deep, and that allows the Haas driver to get straight back past Haas into the pit lane on this lap as well. And a change of front wing, serving a penalty first, and then putting on a set of soft tyres. Bit of a speedy stint for him incoming. Asmith though down the inside of Gerbs. He's got the position done. Good move. Can Gerbs fight this one back? Just another grip on the hard tyres, and Asmith up in a P3. Really needs to make progress on these medium tyres if he is, you know, going for that two-stop strategy. Just pitted around lap 12, so will be a big ask. Skipper into the pits. I assume for a set of hard tyres at this phase in the race. Obviously in the P4 as Skipper pits. So a quick look at the penalties in this race. So it's 6 for Gerbs, 8 for Bog. Got 5 seconds for something. Skipper's going to come out just ahead of the battle between Pete and Milko. Pete's still looking in the back of that Haas car for the time being. But you would have thought with fresh Schottenman said he's better to find a way, but it seems at the crucial moments he just can't quite do that just yet. And the Mighty Frax in the wall. Yellow flags at the final corner. There's going to be wing damage for the Renault driver, and it looks like sizable wing damage for the Renault driver as Asmith picks up his third and final warning, and he receives a 3-second time penalty. And Fifi also, and that's a very interesting line through turn 1. I wouldn't recommend that. Yellow flags down there, understandably. His teammate not too far behind. Gerbs he's sticking with Asmith. Asmith not really closing in on Crankybot like you maybe would imagine with that tyre delta. Gerbs not getting the best of exits. And his rival, I don't think, has DRS. Yellow flag in sector 1, and Mighty Frax is out of the race. He has Come to blows, we've got to see it. Just round the corner, he's lost the car on his without any front wing. And the safety car has been called out. The safety car has been called out. Calais will be the first person to take advantage of this. Will he come in for a set of mediums? Mediums. We'll see, we'll have to wait and see. That's definitely going to shake things up. And well, guys have just pitted. Oh, Skipper, if he just stayed out a little bit longer, it would have come perfectly for Skipper. Ralph and Fifi also into the pit lane. I assume Annoyed Game. Annoyed Game is going to stay out. So Annoyed Game are taking a little bit of a risk potentially. He's going to stay out, but as I said, medium tyres for Calais, Ralph and Fifi. Husband's got to come into the pit lane if he wants to, but of course doesn't really have to. Just a bit of a set of fresh softs, but might want to maybe consider mediums to go to the end of the race. Mighty Frax has left the session, but looking at penalties, who can serve one? Looks like Bogorovsky's the only person who can serve a penalty. That might cost him a position to maybe Dan. Of course, you can serve a 5-second penalty in the pit lane. But will any of the top three make the risk, take the gamble, and stay out? Well, I got it all wrong. They all stayed out. I got that very wrong indeed. Not even considering in the pit lane. Bold move, Bogorovsky. I think it's probably sensible coming to the pit lane. I mean, he doesn't want to pick up any more 5-second penalties. How on earth? He was on the pit limiter. Has he got another one? How was that a time penalty? He was going well slow. In a collision somewhere else, and that's given Pete a 5-second penalty. Bog now serving the first of his 2 5-second penalties, but, well, gutting for him, Skiver promoted up in a P5. Not really what you want to see, the 5-second penalties being dished out like hot dinners. And I'd love to see Bog's POV on that one, because it seemed like he slowed down. It seemed like he had the pit limiter on nice and early. He was ready to come into the pit lane, and well, he got 5 seconds for it. I mean, it's a little bit harsh, but well, we just don't quite know what happened from his side. The front guys have joined up with the safety car. My gamer through the pit lanes. That promotes Ralph. Pete just coming out, just losing out to Ralph there. A little bit unfortunate, but nevertheless. How's this shaking things up? We got some guys that have stayed out. Skipper on the freshest hard tyres of the grid. Everyone who's pitted has come onto a set of mediums. You know, what's the way to go in this one is? Who do we think has got the best chance in this race? If I had to look, I don't know. Probably maybe still say Cranky, but I think maybe by the time the likes of Bog, DBO, Milko on the guys on the new mediums, by the time if they were able to get through some of these hard tyre runners, would their tyres still be quicker than Cranky's? And Cranky has no penalties, so he's definitely in the advantage in terms of that particular battle. But with a bit of a reset in the race, we look who's been who is the big winner so far. We have to look at Skipper. The medium strategy has worked. Of course, he would have preferred it if a safety car came out a lap or two sooner, and then he could have made his one mandatory pit stop under the safety car. But nevertheless, he's up 9 places and up in the P5. Dan making up a few places, as done Crankybot as well. GBO at 1 and Pete up 6 as well, and a few drivers just losing 1 or 2. And actually, Boggs lost 3, losing out I think a little bit in the safety car period because he was the only one to pit. Of course, his time penalty not helping at all. And with 14 drivers left in this race, we're just waiting for Huss to join the back of the pack, and I think we could get going this lap if we're lucky enough. But 2 stops for 6th place down to 14th. Let's get rid of that on the side. And judging by how quickly that delta is going to start going down from Hustanoid Gamer, we should be getting going. What even was that English? Back ready for the safety car. Who pitted? Right, It's pretty an easy one to explain. We'll have a look at the pit stops. If everyone that 1 stopped didn't pit under the safety car, and everyone that 2 stopped did. So the top 5 staying out. The safety car is in this lap, so we'll get the telemetry up to make sure we know when Cranky Boy decides to put his foot to the floor. He starts to lead. He starts to lead them around, but yeah, top 5 staying out. Gutting the skipper. He literally pitted a lap, 1 or 2 laps before the safety car came in or came out. So really couldn't take advantage of that, but making up a few positions nevertheless. And Cranky Boy not giving the safety car too much room. We've seen some drivers really back the pack up this week, and now he's really got to. Now he really has to back the pack up. Will he go for the final corner? Oh, he wanted to. Lost the car a little bit. Looks like the Ferrari of Dan's not really gone anywhere. In all honesty, but up at the front, it's a bit of a drag race down towards turn 1. Asmith feeling he had to go a little bit defensively there, as we now slam on the brakes for the first time on lap number 18, but all keeping it pretty much clean at the moment. No one really shaping up for a move just yet. And what's happening here? Bogrossi and GDVO coming together. Milko's lost the car. Milko, is he out? Milko is out of the race, into the barrier. Oh, that's some Fifi into the wall. I think maybe just cars trying to avoid the collisions down there. GDVO has gone down the inside of Bogorovsky, and he seems like he's just about got ahead. His gloves off at the safety car restart. Goes picked up 3 seconds near the front. He's got his third and final warning. But a chaotic safety car restart. Annoyed Gamer and Pete are swapping places. Where is the Annoyed Gamer? There he is. And Calais seems to be a big loser from this safety car restart. Skipper close to Dan. Dan didn't seem to really get going anywhere, as his yellow flag's further back, and that's Fifi and Haas Fifi in the gravel and on the grass. And pretend we didn't see the reset to track things, you know. You think your race is going badly, you press the reset to track button, and then you found out I saw it, and here comes Annoyed Gamer taking advantage from Pete's little wide moment, and he moves up into P9. I'm always good at spotting. That's yellow flags, and Fifi's retired, and I don't want to assume anything, but I feel like that that might not have been a mistake. But never know. Could be always contact there, and Skipper is round. There's a car park down in the final corner. There was one yesterday. There's another one today. As into the Racing Point goes Pete, and I think we're going to see a few drivers into the pit lane. Calais leads. Is that Bogorovsky or Calais? It's Bogorovsky that leads the race into the pit lane. Contact between a Racing Point, and I think it was Bog. Can Bog avoid a... He's done it. No, he hasn't. He's got... Oh, Bog. A little incident there. Things go from bad to worse, and he's picked up his third 5-second penalty of the race. It might be his third from, you know, speeding the pit lane, but very much, well, I mean, Lurch would be proud. Lurch would be proud. Anyway, back at the front, Asmith keeping close to Crankybot. I'm sure Lurch is watching, if he's allowed off the leash. To see how Bog is getting on, but so far the top 3, well, top 4, I mean, you could say, pretty much just, you know, they don't really know what's going on, in all honesty. They just, you know, just enjoy themselves. Calais managed to negotiate all of that pretty cleanly. Has he got damage? I think he just he doesn't. He just managed to, I think it was Wesley yesterday, just managed to get through. I think it was Monza Blue as well. They just managed to get through the incident down in that penultimate corner without any troubles. And Calais doing the exact same there, as guys just getting caught up, as, you know, doing a bit of a Vettel, just not sure which way to go, and ending up just driving into the wrong driver. But Calais, he's got into P5 now. It'll be a good position for him. Currently up 4 places, so things going well at the moment in the Williams camp. In terms of Calais, Bogrossi not quite the same, currently down in P9. The battle at the front still pretty close. Can Asmith go to the end on those tyres? Currently 10 laps old. We saw Skipper do about 12 laps on the tyres. Is it possible to do, well, quite a few more? Still got 9 laps left to go, so we'll have to extend the stint by about 7. An interesting strategies further down the field as well, as guys are coming in, put on softs, guys are coming in, put on mediums after the very interesting incident. Bit of a replica. They wanted to try and be like C1 yesterday. There's GDBO closing in on Bog. Not close enough to make a move, doesn't seem to have DRS on that occasion. With a battle at the front, Crankybot under threat from Asmith. Asmith's going to go down the inside. Is he late enough on the brakes? We're looking at maybe a first-time winner here in RLH. Asmith, has he got ahead? No, he just has to back out on this occasion. And no way through. Gerbs looking to pick up his first points of the season. A current best finish in RLH of P2. 2 podiums for him. And Asmith himself so close to a win on the final race of season on the final race of season 6. But I think it was a penultimate lap crash cost him that win in Brazil. And well, best finish of 3rd for Asmith. Has stepped on the podium once before, looking to do it for the 2nd time today. Can he improve that position? But one thing we have to bear in mind, we spoke about a little bit earlier on, penalties. Gerbs has 9 seconds, 6 more than Asmith, and of course 9 more than Crankybot. So if Dan keeps in close proximity of Gerbs, which he is doing at the moment, Dan will be picking up that final podium spot. Well, he now picks up a time penalty. Sorry Dan, for the sort of the karma there. As Ralph says, the fastest lap of the race, but it's 3 seconds for Calais and Dan, so they'll still be gaining if they can. As we go through turn 11 and 12, not many victims down here today. It seems to be elsewhere where people are finding the walls. But these 3 have given a great battle so far today. Very, very close racing. And Asmith, is he close enough to make a move into turn 1 or even down into turn number 3? Maybe a little bit too much curve just unsettled the car. That's allowed Crankybot to get away. Look at that gap just build, and Gerbs is gaining, but didn't gain enough. And actually, Asmith got the best. He got the worst entry to the final corner, but the best exit. It's helped him defend / keep within touching distance. And well, now Dan still chilling in that P4. Would still, I think, just about inherit 3rd. Let's think Stan. How Stan, if he's off, picks up another 3-second time penalty. And Asmith runs a little bit too wide. That's his 3rd and final warning. So he's now up to 6 seconds. I would imagine he is. And again, that just, well, maybe sort of sparks the interest of Dan and Calais. If they get a move on, you know, they could be within a shout of some podiums and some trophies here. Bogrov sets a fast lap of the race on a set of softs. He's very close to Pete now. Could he be past Pete now? Will overtake. I mean, that's a very interesting, defending decision there from Pete. But Bog has the inside. Bit of DRS. Can he get the move done? Stick it. Yes, he can. He's up on a P8 now, and not too far behind Annoyed Game in the top 3, still as they were. The gap's still around about half a second. And we go down towards the main straight, the pit straight. And of course, the run towards turn number 3 as well. Asmith is good on that final corner again, finding time there. And well, is he close enough to make a challenge into turn 3? Bit of a lock up. Did that cost him? Crankybot almost losing the rear. Maybe those hards starting to slide a little bit more than he would want to, and that's cost him. That's really compromised his exit. Will Asmith think about it down the inside? No, thinks better of it. And Gerb's still waiting to pounce just behind. I think Dan needs to. It's currently the gap between Dan and Gerbs is 4.8. He needs it to stay below 6 seconds to have a chance of stealing a podium because of penalties. Calais is closing in on Dan. Of course, he's got the freshest tyres. We can't count Calais out in this one. I don't think if there's any problems for any people ahead, Calais is ready and there. He's there to pick up the pieces. Bogro sets another fastest lap of the race. He is pushing that Williams in P8 at the moment, closing an Annoyed Game at a rapid rate of knots. How's Asmith through this chicane? Sort of lost a bit of. Oh, and Asmith, I think a little bit of. That was a bit of a nervous moment there. Asmith defends though, and Gerbs will still. It would have been. He's not going to get DRS though. Asmith will not have DRS. Maybe his tyres are starting to go here. It's not what he needed. He really needs to use the medium tyres to sort of gain track position. And again, what this does is just sparks the interest of the guys behind. And because Asmith being a little bit slower is going to slow Gerbs down. Down well within that 6 second window he needs. Oh, yellow flag. Annoyed Game is out of the race. Annoyed Game is out of the race, and he is a culprit down at that turn 11-12 chicane. Virtual safety car has been called out. I don't think anyone will take advantage of this. The first person to be caught out down there. and a big shunt for the Ferrari driver. But just sort of pauses the racing for a brief moment between these top three. Dan and Clay were wanting good restarts, but not too good of a restart, and they pick up a drive-through. I think everyone's just staying out. Safety car would have really made things interesting. So we'd have seen a lot of changing. Safety car would have been played. It really would have spiced things up. I think it would have annoyed the guys. Maybe like Gerbs has got quite a few penalties. He could have lost a lot of positions. So at least that's not happening. It would have been fun to see a bit of a last lap shootout. As I said, and I think Boxy picks up 3 seconds again. Oh, and it was a good restart from Gerbs there. Got it right. Just about DRS is enabled. Did anyone pick up a drive-through? Nope, everyone's done well. Bog up to 11 seconds of penalties now. So he needs to find a lot of time in these last couple of laps or he could be out of the points. Crankybot's had a really good restart. 1.4 seconds clear of Ad Smith now. And as they go down towards turn 1 for the 25th time, only 5 laps left in 25, 26, 27, 28. 5 laps left in this race. We're now down to 11 drivers. One more and every finisher gets a point. Everyone gets a point that finishes. That should be the way. No, that shouldn't be the way it is. But that little buffer just gives Crankybot a little bit of breathing room. What's Dan's best finish? Let's have a quick look. Dan's current best finish in RLH is a P2, so another person has been on the podium but just yet to make that top step. 2 podium finishes for him. And of course Calais has a P2 from Vietnam last season and got a win in the short series as well. Doesn't go on your card though. Unfortunately for him, card on the website. So an actual best finisher too. But he has won the one before. What's happened down here? Looks like Bog may have had a bit of a spin, or still got all his front wings, so maybe just a little bit of spin. Bog obviously lost a lot of places, and I think, well, this might sort of cement him as unfortunately bottom of the pile with those time penalties. As we go further into this race, things are going to get even difficult, even more difficult for Ad Smith. 16 lap old mediums, 18 lap old hards for Gerbs, doing very good jobs on old tyres to keep up the pace they've got. Impressive pace. Ralph actually has closed in, of course, brand new set of soft tyres, but closed in quite a bit with just everybody in front of him. And it just kind of feels like we're just waiting for this race to end. I think a few drivers might be hoping that the checkered flag comes a little bit early. Ralph nicks fastest lap off of Bogorovsky. And is DRS territory for GDBO, but no way through, I don't think, on this lap. There's a couple laps left in this race. Crankybot, I think you'd say he does. He would deserve. That was a probably gonna pick up a warning there. But I think you probably could argue he does deserve the win today. Driven very well, good pace. Annoyed Gamer has left. That's no worries. Fortunately, he retired. But Crankybot, yeah, no penalties. Once he's got hold of the lead, he's definitely taking it with 2 hands and driven very well. And fortunately, just nothing Ad Smith or Gerbs could throw at him. Could unsettle the Red Bull driver. And he finished P2 last time out, looking to go 1 step higher on that podium. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be a double podium for Red Bull. Just Dan is too close. He's within that 6-second window we were talking about. I think Calais will stay P5 in a bit of no man's land at the moment. I think that incident wouldn't have happened if he could have made his way through and just not lost the time. He might have been okay, but I think he'll be happy with P5 considering what's happened this race. For him, that's kicking up a bit of dirt. 3 laps left to go if you include this one. It's close at the back as well as the front. Penalties, yeah, Bog the only one with 11. Most drivers have just the one, so 3 seconds to be added to their race time. Crankybot has none, dropped in a 5th there for a brief moment, but found him time. through the chicane. Is Asmus close enough for a bit of DRS? Going a little bit deep. That lost him the time that would have found him. DRS for the next two zones. And we start the penultimate lap of the race once these three go round the final corner and on to the main straight. Two laps left in this race. GDBO pretty close to Pete at the moment. Will he be thinking about a move shortly? Very close. They run through the thing. Someone thinking about a move is Gerbs. Gerbs gone down the inside. Has he gone way too deep on the brakes? He has a little bit. Has been trying to fight this one back around the outside. He's got the grip to do it. He kept his nose in there, but no way through. And Gerbs up into P2. But as long as Asmith keeps within, well, 3 seconds of him, he will be jumping a bit. They need to. Both of them need to cast an eye back to Dan. Dan could be nicking both of their positions if they're not careful. It's very, very close at the moment between Dan and Asmith. Because as things stands, Dan is about 4.4 behind Gerbs, and now, well, as things stands, Dan is taking P2. He's getting his head down and he's pumping in the times. It's very, very close at the moment. It's marginal stuff. Gerb's getting ahead. He might be able to use his teammate now to try and drag himself along a little bit, push him away from Dan if he can, but I just think it might be a little bit too far, too much to ask for. I really think the battle we're looking for now is between who's on second and who's on third. I think we're going to see a podium of Crankybot, Asmith and Dan, but in what order? The gap is 2/10 as they start this final lap of the race. We're going to go on board with Dan. He needs to find a little bit more time on this final lap. Things are going to shake up once we cross the line. Turn off the penalties. And we turn everything off. We know all the business now. At 3.3 down into the braking zone of turn 3. And it looks like, well, it's marginal. It's so marginal. They're so similar. And Asmith actually got a really good drive out of that corner. You can see the gap building now up to 3.5. And GDBO has found a way past. No, he hasn't. Went in way too deep. Skipper goes around the outside too. And instead of gaining a place, GDBO unfortunately loses one. But Asmith, well, he's found time on this lap. Managed to fire at those mediums. Maybe just using all of his available overtake. And GDBO picks up 3 seconds of time penalty. Crankybot, though, one more sector to go. It's been a great drive from him. And as he goes down into turn number 13, the Dutch driver finished second last week, getting the fastest lap as well. He's not got the fastest lap this week, but he will be taking his first win in RLH. As he rounds the final corner, it's going to be a 1-2 on track for Red Bull. It's going to look a little bit differently in a minute, but Crankybot takes the win. A great drive from him. Gerb across the line P2. Asmith actually gets P2. And Dan... Oh, Dan just misses out. What happened to Dan at the end? Dan's in P4, misses out on the podium. Look how close it was in the end. Only a second really separated them. I think that was a little bit unexpected. Clay across the line. He will take P5. Ralph, great charge in the last couple of laps, will come across the line to take P6. Not really going the pole sitter's way. Dan, I don't know what happened on that final sector for him. Just missing out on the podium by 0.3 of a second, gutting for him right at the death. Pete will lead Skipper and GDBO round the final corners. And it is going to be, what's the order going to be? I think it's going to be the order they were. Pete, Skipper, GDBO, that's 7th, 8th and 9th. But obviously will be ahead of Haas, but Haas will take the final points position in P10. But a good race that sees Crankybot take his first win in RLH and the first win this season. Things not quite going the way of Ralph as Pete picks up driver of the day for gaining the most positions in the race. But I think personally, you've got to give driver of the day to Crankybot. Brilliant drive from him, takes his first win, and I'm sure he'll be very, very happy. Red Bull getting a double podium as well will be doing wonders for their Constructors' Championship. Constructors' Championship currently led by McLaren. And I think that might shake up, despite there being a McLaren on the podium. It should be interesting. That looks like it could be a good battle this season, McLaren versus Red Bull. Like the old days, well, not the old days, but my old days in like 2010. And at 2011. But this is the final order. We have Crankybot from Azza, from Gerbs, from Dan, from Calais, from Ralph, from Pete, from Skipper, from GDBO, from Huss, from Bog. And then the non-finish, unfortunately, Illinois Gamer, Fifi, Milko, Moneyfrax, and Pratik. A great drive from Crankybot. We got F2 hopefully being streamed tomorrow at Monaco. That's of course at 7 o'clock. Like all the races are. I'll be back next week as we go to China, not too far away from Australia. No coronavirus in F1 2020. Definitely a great race for Red Bull. I'm going to see everybody in China next week for some more great racing as we continue Season 8 at Round 3.